Munster 21, Quins 7. Comfortable enough victory, I guess, for Munster in this one. Bloody hell, yellow cards, man. More yellow cards than tries. 4 yellow cards in this game. So, yeah, bit of an interesting one. I'll go over some of the key events, some of the stats, my thoughts on the game, and you guys can let me know how you guys thought it went. It's a Monday morning here, so technically I was working through the end of this game, working from home, trying to focus on the game as much as I could. I feel like I've seen most of the important stuff anyway, but yeah. Interestingly, Quinn started with a wee bit of kicking. They were trying to kick behind Munster's pretty ferocious attack in line. Marcus Smith, though, a couple of errors. I think the first one went dead just from him. On another day, it would have been a perfect kick. That being said, from the resulting scrum, Harlequins won a scrum penalty. And then after the scrum, Munster won a breakdown penalty. It was on neither side could really do anything with the ball for the first few minutes. Every time you seem to be getting a chance to take advantage with the ball, nothing doing. Smith puts another one too big a few minutes later. I think Haley probably had it covered from fullback anyway, but Marcus Smith was certainly looking for the space early. On 10 minutes, there's some proper handbags, and it's Smith again, him and Hanrahan doing the jersey pulling thing, 2 fly halves. Come on, man. You guys shouldn't be doing that. The ref tells them, the 2 captains, that the rest of it's unacceptable. Everyone running in and pushing and shoving and whatnot. It was nothing really going to happen from that one, but trust the 2 fly halves to get things started anyway. 12 minutes, Munster get a penalty. It was Marla who put in a tackle without the ball, and it was Conor Murray who quite helpfully pointed it out to the ref. I think he literally pointed, and sure enough, there was a penalty. Hanrahan kicks it 3-0 to Munster. 15 minutes, as there's a bin coming up my driveway, I wrote a line that said Munster's line speed forcing Harlequins wide, and that was pretty evident. There was space out wide if you can get it through the hands quick enough to beat those on-rushing defenders. Once they almost had it done, but they ended up getting into touch. 18 minutes, it looked like Haley had maybe gone over in the corner, but they were called back. The linesman said no. Some great offloads and cross kicks and whatnot from Munster in the build-up. And people had told me, look, Munster's attack looking better than it has in previous year. Because it's been a while since I've watched Munster, and from memory, last Champions Cup run, the attack just looked a bit blunt, but it was certainly looking a bit sharper, and there was, a bit more ambitious stuff going on from some of the guys. However, just as I was looking suitably impressed, Munster, because they had advantage anyway, they go back for the advantage, they don't opt for the 3, they opt for touch, and Hanrahan kicks it dead, pretty much from the 22-metre line as well. So it's one where you should probably be kicking it between 8 and 5 metres, but he just tries to chew off too much. Like sometimes you see guys chew off too much, but it's from, 30, 40 metres they try and do it, whereas this was on the 22, not that far from the touchline. So, it was a bit of a let-off for Harlequins at that point. Finally, after just maybe around 30 minutes, they finally had some chances. Harlequins down the Munster end. They eventually won a penalty and opted for the 3, but Smith missed it. 2 minutes later, on half an hour, they get another chance. It's a longer shot for 3. Unhelpfully for Marcus Smith, as he's kind of preparing to kick the ball, the bloody thing falls off the tee. The Munster guys come charging at him. The referee yells, "No, get back." He's still got 30 seconds. He has to rush his attempt at the kick now, knowing that he's only got probably 10 seconds once he gets the ball back on the tee. And sure enough, he misses it. So no points on the board. 32 though, it looks like Don Brandt's gone over for a try. Murley, man, that guy's dangerous. Big line break from him. He passes the top wide. But at the time, I said to myself, that's forward. And sure enough, the TMO called it forward. That would have been a bit of robbery if that had not been done. Like, when you can see it in play from your couch, that's forward. It was pretty forward. So TMO gets chalked off. Hanrahan on 37 gets a decent Kicks some solid distance for a penalty, 6-0. And then Byrne, 38 minutes, Ty Byrne. And he gets man of the match, quite rightly. He was bloody everywhere. He gets a big old line break, some just picks and goes from the base of the ruck. Why he tries to go around Marcus Smith instead of over him is one that is a bit perplexing, but he gets brought down. Eventually, right before halftime, Chisholm gets yellow carded. A bit of breakdown indiscretion as Munster are hot on attack. However, Hanrahan misses the penalty. So halftime, it goes in 6-0. I mean, Harlequins did have a kind of 10-minute period, but you'd like to think maybe over the course of the rest of the 30 minutes, the Munster would have picked up a few more points. Earl was taking a lot of high balls for Harlequins. Murray at one point was on the ground and did kind of a chicken wing offload from the deck, which is, again, just seemingly a bit more confidence in the guys to be a bit more ambitious from what I've seen, some time ago. So it's quite pleasing. Halftime stats, it's 56-44 for possession in terms of Munster having more ball. Territory 53-47. They've had 133 on meters to 93. They've had 4 clean breaks to 1. They've had 7 offloads to 2. So pretty pleasing stuff overall if you're a Munster fan, except maybe the scoreboard, again, is not all that confident, or it's not all that, comfortable. It's only 6 points. But they do have the extra man for the start of the second half with Chisholm being in the bin. 46 minutes, though, interestingly, Harlequins get the ball out under some serious pressure. And they win a penalty. Danny Kerr taps and goes, and Archer doesn't let him run the 10. He tackles him, and he gets a yellow card for it. The ref's not having anything. So it's 14 on 14. 47 minutes. Tyke Byrne, again, I mentioned he gets star of the match. He puts in a massive clearance. I don't know if this is a Gaelic football background or what, but like a massive, 50, 60 metre kick. Like under pressure, ball comes out, he just puts his big left boot through it. Hell of a kick. And then Mike Brown's kick just goes off the side of his boot into touch. So he wins the kicking duel with Mike Brown, which is not one you would have thought about before the game. 48, Danny Kerr gets penalised for changing his line to bump Keith Earls into touch when kind of going for a kick through. And it's pretty costly, that one. It's probably unnecessary because I don't think Earls would have been able to get it under that pressure anyway. He probably would have ended up in touch if he had got it. But from there, Munster get the penalty, and then Evans gets yellow carded, and Munster get a penalty try from the maul being dragged down. So Munster kick for touch, set a maul, it's going forwards, Evans drags it down, or goes through the middle of it to disrupt it, and illegally. So it's suddenly 7 points for Munster from nowhere, and it's 13-0. 13-0 at this point is looking pretty comfortable, I thought. However, 55 minutes, Murley gets Harlequins try. Danny Kerr, as Harlequins are on attack in Munster 22, he's looking blindside all day, for seconds. And he flings this ball out. It's a cutter. He cuts out 2 or 3 Harlequins guys to hit Murley right on the left wing. It's a hell of a pass, but it's telegraphed to high heaven. And Conway is in position to make the tackle, but Murley's able to break free of him. And he goes over. Good conversion as well. Suddenly makes it 13-7. So Harlequins are somehow back in the game. They get another bloody yellow card. Their whole back row gets yellow carded. It's Dombrant, the captain, on 61 for his tackle on Ben Healy. It's kind of a no-arms tackle. It's a little bit late, so he gets yellow carded. It's just, they spent 30 minutes of this game with a man down, man. Anyway. And this guy, Ben Healy, first time I think I've seen him play. He's just been floored by a big loose forward. And he decides to line up a 55-metre shot at goal. And I'm highly doubtful. Highly doubtful because he's looking pretty sore. But man, does he put his boot through that ball. And he takes it quickly. Sometimes that frustrates me when you got the yellow card. The guys take the full minute. Nah, man. He takes bugger all time and he hoofs that thing. Hell of a kick. I was swearing at the TV at that moment in a good way. Honestly. Hell of a kick. 16 points to 7. 69. It's that man Coombs, and people told me to look out for this guy. And he had been pretty impressive on 69 minutes. 69 minutes. There's a ruck. How many meters is it out? 6 or 7? And he must drive through about 4 Harlequins defenders to go over for a try. I don't know how he did it, man. Hell of power from that guy. Very good try. Maybe that's my favorite try of the match. 21 points to 7. So it's like, and there was 8 points conceded during that yellow card for Dombrant. So pretty costly. That's the way the scoreboard finishes. But, Harlequins did have another chance at one point. The referee had the ball thrown into him. They had like a scrum, like 6 meters out from Munster's line. Maybe a chance to go for a converted try to get a bonus point. But, it was there was a big choke tackle. I think Byrne was involved in it as well, man. He was just bloody everywhere. Munster had one last throw of the dice. Their lineup wasn't straight, so nothing doing there. But, 21 points to 7, so no bonus point for either side, but a comfortable enough win for Munster. Harlequins will certainly be ruining 3 yellow cards. I mean, if you've had maybe Dombrant's one doesn't get yellow carded, they don't get maybe Coombs' try, so maybe they do stick within the 7 points. Don't know, but you're certainly not doing yourselves any favours. Run meters finish 192 to 186, so pretty tight. Positions 48-52 in Harlequins' favour, so pretty tight overall. Territory likewise in Harlequins' favour, just slightly. Defenders beaten is 15-14, so pretty tight. Munster with one more. Clean breaks 4-3. Again, Munster with one more, so they just edged all the stats. But they had to make more tackles, 100 to 87. Both sides missed 15, so overall Munster's tackling percentage a wee bit higher. Penalties conceded 14 by Harlequins, 10 by Munster, so it's another one. Yellow cards, man, 3-1. Crazy stuff. Individuals, Byrne has 45 run meters, a clean break, and 2 offloads. Yeah, he was everywhere. Murley had 2 clean breaks, 31 run meters. Tizard, it was the first time for me to see him in the second row for Quins, made 10 from 10 tackles. Pretty good shift. Evans made 15 from 18. Peter Romani had 11 from 13. Coombs had 8 from 8. So, yeah, pretty pleasing. Who was that Munster scrum half that came on? The replacement for Murray. He looks pretty good. Healy looks pretty good. There seems to be a fair bit of young talent in that Munster team as well, which is also quite pleasing. But, man, overall, not a real rip-snorting tries galore game, but a bit of a battle. Discipline was a bit poor, you'd have to say. The ref wasn't really having a lot of stuff. He's not really one to do the old warnings. It's penalty or card pretty much straight away. But yeah, if you're a Munster fan, you're probably happy enough without being ecstatic that you didn't win by a bit more. And Harlequins, you're probably ruining the fact that you couldn't get a bit closer. And if you didn't have any yellow cards, maybe even nick it, but yeah, that's just kind of a big hypothetical. Ultimately, they lost by 14 points. So, you guys let me know your thoughts on the game. I got to go back to work. I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.